Okay, tell us the news, Shahan.
All right, President Barack Obama has condemned the killing of a British-born American who was held hostage by a group linked to al-Qaeda in Yemen. Luke Summers was shot by his captors while American military forces tried to rescue him. Obama authorized the operation last night. He's described the killing as barbaric. Summers was a freelance photojournalist and was captured late last year near the capital, Sana'a. Demonstrations continued in the U.S. against heavy-handed policing, this after two separate grand jury decisions not to indict white police officers responsible for killing unarmed black men. Julie Nose reports.
Thousands of protesters marched through Manhattan for another night of demonstrations against police violence. Protests have been ongoing since a grand jury decided earlier this week not to indict New York City police officer Daniel Pantaleo in the choking death of unarmed black man Eric Garner last July. Friday night's protests were heated at times, with police pushing marchers back onto the sidewalks, although generally police have been unobstructive to demonstrators. Elsewhere, scores of people held die-in demonstrations in which they lie on the floor. Here, a group converged in Macy's department store. Then again, in the city's bustling Grand Central Station. Protesters say the issue is of the utmost importance.
With our voices being heard and us being united, we believe we can make a difference. And letting these people know that this has to stop. It has to stop today. No more police brutality. It's not really about race. It's about equality and the social justice system. The system is flawed. We need to fix it. It can happen to anybody.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. These killer cops have got to go.
And it was much the same in Washington, D.C., where protesters blocked traffic in major intersections by lying on the ground. Protesters shouted, "If I can't breathe, you can't breathe," a common rally cry meant to symbolize Garner's last words as he was choked to death. The decision not to indict Pantaleo was announced last week after a grand jury in Missouri chose not to indict white police officer Darren Wilson in the shooting death of unarmed black teenager Michael Brown. That decision also prompted days of sometimes violent protests.
New York Mayor Bill de Blasio has been trying to calm tension between minority communities and the police. In an emotional speech following the Eric Garner grand jury decision, the mayor spoke openly about conversations he's personally had with his biracial son about how to interact with police. That seemed to resonate well among communities of color, but a police union says the mayor threw them under the bus. Now, talking about transport, car service company Uber is living up to its name with a new valuation of $40 billion. That's up by $1.2 billion. The company had a recent run of bad publicity about privacy violations and its corporate culture, but investors were not deterred. $40 billion makes Uber bigger by market value than companies like American Airlines and Twitter. And finally, I've been drinking. No, I haven't been drinking. Just singing one of my favorite Beyonce songs because the Queen Bee has been nominated for 5 Grammys. No surprise, of course, Beyonce landed nominations in the R&B category, including Best R&B Performance and Best R&B Song. Also making the list of leading nominees is Sam Smith.
Love Sam Smith.
Yeah. Hey, I love Beyonce. We cannot take away from that.
She's unstoppable.
Right. So after the break, we're finally going to learn how to behave ourselves.
Really?
Etiquette expert Rosa McLeish is here.
Don't move. We'll be right back.